Welcome to episode 113 of Timm Talk, the podcast about the DC animated universe, co-created by Bruce Timm. I'm Chris Lord.
I'm Cameron Dexter. I'm Cameron Dexter. Am I forgetting something?
No, I was just going to wait and see what would happen if I didn't say anything after that.
And this is Timm Talk. I don't know. We have a system, Chris. We've been doing this for 113 episodes.
I was just curious, like, what would happen if I just
completely... I'm on autopilot for the first 4 minutes of this. You can't just throw this at me.
That's true. You're still looking up news. You're reviewing your notes.
Yeah.
I was just so curious to see if it would go off the rails, and guess what?
It did.
It did.
Surprise.
It did. Speaking of going off the rails...
The world is crazy.
It is crazy.
And it's about to come to an end.
But our friend Jonathan messaged me earlier this week, and he's like, "Did you see the Flash news?" I'm like, "What?" So I looked it up real fast, and the only thing I could see initially was that there was talk about like possibly a November shoot date. And then he elaborated further, and apparently, because Ezra Miller wants to be the Flash so badly... I think the only person that wants Ezra Miller to be the Flash is Ezra Miller.
Well, he's also the only person that wants to keep the Justice League together. He's
the only person that still wants to be in those movies at this point. Mm-hmm. But he wants it so badly that he apparently...
It's not even like a kid trying to keep his parents together in a bad divorce. It's like his whole family is just like, yeah, we're all moving and we're not bringing you.
I know what they should do instead of making
it's a reverse Home Alone.
They should do a movie where Ezra Miller, it's like The Parent Trap, it's Ezra Miller trying to get
everyone back together.
Cast of Justice League back
That's exactly
together.
What it should be. But he's moving so fast, there's two of him.
Exactly.
Because he just wants it to be The Parent Trap.
This is the truth, is that the reason he wants to do this so bad is he actually has the powers of the Flash.
Yeah.
And he finally has a role where he can use them. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's like this close to being gone. He's like, no, I must make this still happen.
This is my only chance.
Plus, could you imagine the idea of someone going to Ben Affleck like, hey, we don't want you to play Batman. We want you to play yourself in a movie where no one else but Ezra Miller wants you to play Batman.
Yes.
Just watch as he gets so much sadder.
You don't have to stretch far. We want you to play a guy who hates his role, but is doing it for the money. And to bribe you, we're going to give you a lot of money.
You know, you can even do this like mockumentary style.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. I want to make this parody so badly.
Just so much of Ben Affleck walking around in gray sweatpants.
Mm-hmm. Every shot is Henry Cavill with a different kind of mustache.
Yeah.
Or different kind of facial hair.
He's like going full on 70s. Mm-hmm. He's got the dreads, everything. And Gal Gadot is just like too busy to bother with any of this.
Yeah.
She shows up for like one scene. She's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. She's like, no, I'm still making my movie. My movie's still coming out.
And Jason Momoa is just constantly walking around the background going, my man.
My man.
He has no other dialogue.
He goes up to every PA and just like slaps him on the back.
Yeah.
My man. Always just like flipping an axe with his other hand.
Wait, Jason, we have notes. We want to see if you want to do the trench. My man.
Wait, no, the trench movie. You're supposed to be in this one.
My man.
My man.
Just keeps walking away. I don't even want to see a DC movie. I just would rather see this.
Yeah. So now what would the Parent traps be though? If Ezra Miller were to go through with this kind of film?
Let's see. I mean, there has to be the like the fiance too. So who would that be in this case? Would that be like another actor like eyeing the role of Batman?
No, it's still Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller plays every role. He actually, there's nothing about this that's DC anymore. It's him just doing the Parent Trap, but constantly calling Ben Affleck Bruce or Batman. It's just between it's like him going to Ben Affleck and then him going to Zack Snyder,
yeah,
or what's his face, Jeff Johns,
yeah, Charles Roven's floating around the background there,
yeah. Like in one scene he's just wearing a Lindsay Lohan wig. I'm like, Ezra, what are you doing? It's like, it's Lindsay. I mean, it's Flash.
There's an extended 10-minute sequence of him just singing "Let's Get Together," yeah, mm-hmm. to himself with himself.
Well, he's doing the handshake to everyone.
but it's even longer.
Yeah. This is the movie he's writing. We have very inside knowledge that this is the movie he's writing.
And you know what? The thing is, that movie is weird enough that I could totally see Grant Morrison working on it with him.
Yeah.
Because that's who he's brought in to help him write a version of the script that I guess he wants it to be darker. Like Warner Brothers, understandably, is like, hey, why don't we take a slightly lighter tact? Because that worked.
No.
That worked.
I was promised brooding,
sulking, unhappy Flash.
as the happiest character of this universe. I have to be mean.
What does that say when Ezra Miller is the happiest person in your cinematic universe?
A lot. Well, I mean, I think Jason Momoa took it from him.
That's true. Yeah, Jason Momoa.
At a point, Ezra Miller was the innocent child of the universe.
The sweet innocent lamb.
Yeah.
Of the as of yet unnamed DC film universe.
Just have to save one person. That's going to be the tagline. Is he just has to save one.
Save
Batman.
one.
Don't focus on saving the world. Just save one.
But can you
Batman.
save one Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
From just pure depression.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I guess he wants like a darker version. Maybe because it's possible that the whole thing is he wants to be this character so badly that he apparently is writing a version of the script with Grant Morrison. Because the one from, or the version that the directors, John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, they did Game Night, if I recall.
Okay.
And they're
good.
also one of the writing pairs that did Spider-Man Homecoming.
Also very good.
Yeah, I feel like they did something. Oh, I think they did the reboot of National Lampoon's Vacation. Probably less said about that.
Not as good.
Less said about that, the better. It does feature Chris Hemsworth in his swinging dong. I've never actually seen the movie.
Neither have I. I didn't know that. Because that came out like 2 years after We Are the Millers, which was the same movie, but with drugs.
Yeah. Will Miller is actually really good.
Yeah.
It's like really good. Are they making a sequel to that?
Did we or are we?
I think they are.
Oh, I wouldn't want them to.
But what
I
if they
kind of like it being a contained story.
But what if they called it We're Still the Millers?
No.
Yeah, I think it's for that. It's worth that alone.
We're the Mullers.
We're the
Just make it all about politics.
The Robert Mueller film we've all been wanting. We're the Muellers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so on board.
I mean, if We're the Millers was more topical, I could see SNL doing that bit with getting Jason Sudeikis back.
Yeah. I'm surprised they still have it. Like, movie's not that old.
I mean,
I
it's a
bet
little older
you-
than I thought. It was 2013.
Oh, okay. But okay. Oh, wow.
6 years ago.
That is-
Yeah.
holy shit. Okay. That
thought
has been,
it was
it
2
has,
years
it has
ago,
been a
yeah.
while. That being said, I feel like the next time Jason Sudeikis is on Saturday Night Live as a host, which I'm sure he's hosted.
So it's like twice. I
Yeah.
think.
Whenever he comes back, they're probably going to do a We're the Muellers sketch, which I'm all on board for. But yeah, I guess like
What's he doing now?
Warner
I haven't
Brothers.
seen him in a while.
What is he doing?
Upcoming projects 3, the Angry Birds movie.
Of course.
Lady Liberty was supposed to come out last year.
I don't even know what that is.
A movie called Booksmart. Didn't I see
That-
this one? Oh yeah, this one looks good.
That trailer looks amazing.
Yeah, he plays the principal. That's right.
Yeah, because it premiered at South by Southwest, and it's Olivia Wilde's directorial
directing
debut.
it. Yeah.
It looks so damn funny. Like, I'm super, super excited for that movie. But yeah, Jason Sudeikis, he's great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't even know what to think about the whole DC film franchise at this point. It's just such a fucking mess. Like, I feel like every week there's just some article about for the mess that it's in. Like, I saw also this week that apparently J.K. Simmons is just still sitting by his phone waiting for someone to call him to come back to play Jim Gordon.
Yeah, I mean he's such a good bit character
Yeah.
that just bring him back on as Jay Jonah at this point. Why not?
Honestly, they really, really should. Like, that's still the best piece of comic book casting ever.
I was gonna say, like, when you think of like the best comic casting, you have Sam Jackson's Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Because the comic character was based
on him. So it's, yeah. But somehow, even beyond that, it's J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, it's still Jay Jonah.
Even beyond Samuel Jackson, literally playing a character designed after himself, this is the better option.
So the live action world of this is a mess.
Yes.
But on the animated front, oh man,
Cowabunga.
they're just like, you know what? Fuck you, we're doing what we want today. Here's a trailer where Batman's gonna fight the fucking Ninja Turtles.
Now, that's already a comic.
It is a comic.
Yeah, and it's a comic, I think, loosely connected to the DCAU, because I think the comic was actually done in the BTOS art style,
Okay,
I believe.
that's awesome.
I'm pretty sure.
Then I kind of wish the Turtles were like the '93, like the live action Turtles.
Yeah, I think that's what the comic was that it was the cartoon Turtles and the cartoon Batman. This is modernized versions of all of them.
Yes.
Although it is interesting that Batman's in his very like Brave and the Bold style.
Yeah,
bright
but he's
blue
still like
cowl.
very brooding.
Yeah. Well, it's just also interesting that's what they chose for that, but then they have like the Batgirl of Burnside version of Batgirl, who's like the very modern, kind of more realistic take on her.
I don't care. This movie looks amazing.
It did.
I'm 110% down for this film.
It did look amazing because it's got everyone in it. So it's got Roz, it's got the Joker, Splinter, obviously, the Foot,
and it looks like they're giving Joker ooze. So we're gonna get Venom Joker.
That's right. It's like all of the villains. Like they all get
they all get oozed. Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks so ridiculous. So on board for it.
And then for voice acting, the one I was most excited for is Batgirl's being voiced by Rachel Bloom.
From Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Yeah,
like
give her
Ex-Girlfriend.
everything. I love her so much. Have you seen her Black Box musical, Sugar Ray the Musical?
No.
It's unbelievable, Chris. Everyone go to YouTube. It's like a 12-minute bit. Is it Sugar? It's Sugar Ray the Musical. Right?
That's amazing.
And it's her when she was still doing comedy up in New York, and it's one of my go-to things. Like if I'm having a bad day, I'm gonna rewatch this, because it's like half of it is them just making fun of Sugar Ray songs, and the other half is them just making fun of Smash Mouth. It's so good. But we have Rachel Bloom as Batgirl, Darren Criss as Raphael, Kyle Mooney is Michelangelo.
Kyle Mooney's great.
John DiMaggio is Mr. Freeze, and then Tara Strong coming in with her normal Harley and Poison Ivy.
Yeah, and then of course Tom Kenny as the Penguin.
Yes,
he was the Penguin in The Batman. Mm-hmm. And then Troy Baker as the Joker. He's been the Joker a few times, and also Batman. As Batman. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's been done before. No, I mean it's a pretty fantastic voiced cast. Mm-hmm. When is this coming out?
May.
Okay, yeah, pretty excited for that.
Yeah.
Like excited enough that we talked about that trailer before the biggest trailer this week.
Well, that had the easiest segue.
I know. We're just on fire with our segues today.
Yeah,
man. I mean, it's partly because it's like Sunday morning. It's nice outside. We're both kind of awake right now. It's not a Monday night. I'm not sleep deprived and exhausted.
The world hasn't hit us yet.
No, I haven't even stepped outside yet to see how depressing the world is. But yeah, we had the final Endgame trailer this week.
Oh, man.
I have to give them so much credit for how little of this movie they have shown so far.
Yes. But how much hype they can generate from 3 minutes of clips.
So, how did you feel about the trailer primarily being made up of? So I was trying to say old film footage done in black and white and bits of red.
I love it. I mean, I love monochromatic with the single.
Yeah.
With the single, and that was my design aesthetic for fucking 4 years. It was black, white, and a little bit of a color. Which like a yellow or a blue.
It looks really good. I know some people are saying, "Oh, it looks like a fan trailer. Like it's kind of lame. They're not even showing anything." But I don't want to see anything.
Right.
Also, that trailer was very emotionally affecting. Like I got choked up when Steve is walking down the aisle at Peggy's funeral.
Oh yeah, and you hear the voiceover.
Holding it back. It's her voiceover. It's in black and white. It's just the stripes of the American flag in red. I'm like, oh my god, this is just an emotional wallop from this trailer. And we got a decent amount of Hawkeye this time. Mm-hmm. Like we saw him training somebody to use a bow and arrow. So
presumably his daughter.
Presumably his daughter, yeah. So
I don't see how it could be anybody else.
Right. Well, because in the comics he trained Kate Bishop to take over for him as Hawkeye. Mm-hmm. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the MCU as they've done a few other places.
Do you think we're going to get a character introduction in this movie?
I don't think so. No, I mean, the MCU is known for definitely kind of combining and simplifying characters for the sake of smoother storytelling. So that's probably going to be a version of Kate Bishop that's also his daughter.
Yeah.
Would be my guess, but like that clearly is happening like right before the snap. That family is fucked.
Yeah. I did have a realization though, because in the trailer we see Cap doing a kind of an AA style meeting. Well, we assume is either for people dealing with the snap,
Yeah.
or him finally going to PTSD training. I have a different idea. I think he is taking over Falcon's job, because we learned in Winter Soldier that's what he does. He does crisis.
Yeah.
What is it? What is it called? It's PTSD, like reintegration,
Like crisis counseling. Sort of
yeah,
thing?
yeah. He basically, yeah. So Falcon does that in that universe, and I feel like Steve is going to take over that responsibility.
That is a really good idea.
Like
actually.
his role in this moment is like he just wants to make sure the world keeps moving.
Yeah.
While everyone else is still kind of brooding. He's like, no, we have to just keep going.
That does make a lot of sense, and it's so interesting that this movie looks like it's going to take place over a decent amount of time.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely going to be a time skip.
Yeah, it kind of seems like there's some stuff early up front with everyone united, and then I get the impression that maybe some of the more space-based heroes like Rocket, Thor, and Captain Marvel.
Well, they're also the only three we don't see in the suits.
Exactly. I think maybe they go off on some sort of mission and they're gone for a really long time. And then maybe it's at that point that Steve and Natasha finally encounter Scott Lang, and they realize there might be another way to do this.
Yeah.
And they get those...
Time travel.
Or quantum realm? Well, I guess time travel via the quantum realm. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
That's the crazy thing, is it's all speculation at this point.
I know. I mean, that's what is amazing about it. Is like a film we've seen 21 others still has us questioning things.
Yeah. Now, do you think...
Because there's two major questions that we still have no idea the answer to, of how does Scott get out?
Yeah.
And how does Tony and Nebula get to Earth?
Yeah.
Because now we know they're both on Earth.
Right. And beyond that, even just like, where is Thanos right now? What is he up to?
Yeah, well, he's gardening.
Yeah, that's true. He's got a nice dandelion field he's looking after.
Do you think he purposely doesn't water half of his dandelions?
Yeah. Perfect balance.
In every way.
His watering can is always half full.
Yes.
Never half empty. Optimist, that one. Do you think, though, this is going to set a precedent for how studios approach film marketing in the future? Like, because there have been so many complaints in the last few years about movie trailers giving away the entire film. Like, even the new Hellboy film, which, based on the trailers, I'm excited about. It looks like really fun. But I also don't see there being any surprises left in that movie. Like, we know everything that's going to happen. We know everything that's going to happen in Dark Phoenix, although it sounds like maybe part of the problem there is that there's no one left at Fox to like market those films. But do you think
Fox is gone next week?
That's true? Yeah, the merger finally happens as of next week. So
yeah, all my Fox friends are now going to be Disney friends.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, hopefully for a while.
Yeah. I also had the talk with them of potential Disney major layoffs.
Yeah. I mean, because there's got to be some redundancies. But I mean, that's a separate conversation. But I don't know. Do you think that some studios now are going to approach this being like, well, maybe we don't have to?
No. I don't think this is going to have any effect on the trailer companies.
But I mean, it's
mainly because I had a very fascinating in LA. It feels very fascinating to have an interaction like this, where I went to see a very horrible film that will remain unnamed this week because I'm very ashamed that I went to see it. Where in the trailers they played a Spider-Man trailer. They played Far From Home.
Yeah.
And the couple sitting next to me didn't know there was another Spider-Man movie.
Really?
Yeah. And we have to, like, it's hard for us to look past what we know. Because clearly we know the Dark Phoenix storyline.
Yeah.
Because we saw it 15 years ago and we remember it. But
terrible.
That's us. That's a very small section of the box office.
Yeah.
Like, we know so much more. Even if we, like, scrape off the majority of our knowledge, there are people out there that still know less than that. And it's hard to put ourselves in those seats.
This is a very good point, because we are nerdy enthusiasts who also live in LA.
Yes.
So-
Like we're not just like swimming in the knowledge. We are fully immersed like James Cameron's submarine,
Yeah.
600 feet below the surface, submerged in the nerd culture.
Also, Cameron, 600 feet is not that deep.
I know.
It's like
600 leagues. We'll go leagues.
Can you?
No, because leagues is a horizontal distance, not a vertical distance. I understand all the mistakes I'm making right now, Chris. Just fucking give me a minute.
Well, to be fair, that last mistake was also apparently made by Jules Verne. Can a league not be a depth?
No. So 10,000 leagues under the sea.
20,000 leagues under the sea.
20,000 leagues under the sea. I'm talking about the prequel.
The prequel that no one asked for.
Yeah, it's about his halfway.
We learned that Ishmael was never named Ishmael.
Yeah.
He was standing in line and it's like, do you have a family? He's no. How about we call you Ishmael?
No, it's he's in line, and oh god, how can I make this joke? I wanted to be a joke about fish mail, but they misheard him, and it's now Ishmael.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Well done.
No, 20,000 leagues under the sea is they traveled a distance around the Earth of 20,000 leagues.
I've actually read that book, but it's been a long time.
I have not read that book. Surprise.
I have, of course, you haven't read any books.
Yeah.
I have a nice, like hardbound, like collector's Barnes and Noble edition of all the Jules Verne stories.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I've read one of them.
Nice. Those books are. I have a handful of those like Barnes and Noble collectors books. They're gorgeous.
They're gorgeous. Yeah. My friend Jason, like his whole bookshelf is covered in all kinds of classic books in that same sort of style, and they're just gorgeous to have on a wall.
Oh my god, I'm so sad. I just forgot her name. The woman that does, excuse me, all the covers is a very famous like designer and hand letterer.
Oh.
Jessica Hirsch.
Well.
Yeah.
Good pull.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She's very well known in our community. So sorry to flip back to the discussion. No, I don't think this will have an effect on trailers because I think this will be an outlier of we have everyone we're gonna get, so we're not gonna pull for anyone else.
So I can think of one other franchise that would have that same sort of cachet to maybe get away with very minimal trailer.
James Bond.
No.
Oh, well, because they can.
I don't think they can actually. The one I was gonna say is Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
That being said, though, because you think about Endgame and Episode 9 are very similar positions where they are.
Oh, I think not.
Well, hang on.
I think they're in opposite
Well,
positions.
hang on. Let me finish my thoughts here.
No, I want to argue this base statement.
They are culmination films.
Yes.
So in the same way you could structure a trailer for Endgame around footage from previous movies and kind of basically like tugging on nostalgia and heartstrings and sentiment and then offering very little of the new movie, you could do that with Episode 9, like going, well, they probably won't even include the prequels, but you could do like the original trilogy, some stuff in the new movies, and a little bit from the newest film with Episode 9. But I think the problem is what I think you were starting to argue with me on, which wasn't a point I was going to argue in the first place, which is that coming out of Infinity War, everyone loves Marvel, and coming out of Last Jedi, no one loves Star Wars. Right. I'm sorry, let me clarify.
Coming out of Solo.
Coming out of the combination of Last Jedi and Solo together.
Yes.
The biggest departure ever for a Star Wars film combined with the most mediocre Star Wars film ever made.
Yes. So I think when we ever get the name or the trailer for Episode 9, I think it's going to have to resell the audience, which is different than the position Marvel's in, where they're not selling it anymore. They're just letting you know it's coming.
Yeah. They're definitely going to have to resell it a little bit because the feelings about Star Wars right now are tepid. I would say. But I mean, again, that's from our perspective, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that still love it.
Sure, a lot of people still don't care.
Yeah, I'm sure.
A lot of people probably don't know that there is a 9th one coming out. And that's what's crazy about the world, Chris.
Right? Well,
people don't know the big issues.
Well, like, this is the thing I keep bringing up because April is the most exciting month of pop culture this year. Because not only do we get Endgame, we get Game of motherfucking Thrones.
Yeah.
And once both those things are done, have come and gone, you're like, is there anything left? And you're like, oh, right. There's a
Star Wars.
There's like the last Skywalker Star Wars film coming out at the end of this year. But
oh, right. The Dark Phoenix.
Oh, right. Oh, cannot wait. Oh, maybe we'll see New Mutants someday. We never will. But yeah, it's like one. I mean, Star Wars is like so in the back of everyone's mind, except for Star Wars Land.
Exactly. May 21st. Sorry, May 30. Nope, 27th. May 27th. That's the one.
You got it?
I got it.
You sure you're 100% on that?
Nope. Might be the 29th. Might be the 31st. This is the 29th. I think
Okay.
it's the 29th.
But I mean, so
For anyone who doesn't know, because I don't think we talked about it the last time, Star Wars Land is having a soft open for anyone who wants to come out to LA, only in the Disneyland, California Disneyland. They're doing a soft open of Star Wars Land, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, May 29th through June 23rd-ish, when it will officially open to the world. Whereas in Disney World, it will not open until August 31st.
Also, when they do the soft opening in Disneyland, one of the two rides won't
Only
even be
one
open.
ride. Yes,
Only one
yes,
ride.
I know, Chris. I know. It's going to be a whole Pixar Pier fiasco again. I know. But just let me live in it for a minute.
I mean, the reality is, if you're able to get spots, I'm coming.
We're
with you.
going.
We're going.
100%. I also saw someone did a physical map because I didn't realize how big this land's going to be.
Yeah.
It's huge. Someone laid over the 3 biggest expansions over the past 15 years. So Cars Land, Pandora, and Pixar Pier.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of them fit inside Star Wars Land with extra room still.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's huge.
Pandora's pretty big. And Pandora is also the same thing where there's only 2 rides.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal.
Yeah. I know. I am excited about it.
You should be,
I
goddammit.
should be excited about it. What I was going to say though is, with the Endgame trailer, we also like a poster too, which looks great.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of controversy.
And I love that the fans called out the fact that Janai Guerrero was not included in the credits up at the top, even though she's on there. And so Marvel swiftly fixed that, which I'm like, why didn't you just do that in the first place?
Yeah.
But for some people, a new Endgame trailer was not even the most exciting Marvel news this week.
What did I miss?
James Gunn is back.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I forgot I wrote that down.
yeah, I was at work, and again, my friend Jason texted me just like the Deadline article that he was back, and I went and looked it up, and my brother Wes, he's former guest of the show, also messaged me the same thing, and it's crazy.
I kind of didn't believe it at first.
Yeah, I was like really surprised, but what the sort of scuttlebutt that's been flowing around after this announcement was that this deal was struck way back when this all happened, and that basically the deal was that James Gunn just had to lay low for a while and just let the dust settle, and then he would eventually get rehired. Now, like, I'm excited about this. I think this is a good move on Marvel and Disney's part. Mm-hmm. One, from just a creative perspective, which is that movie would never work without him.
Right.
It would be a real disappointment to see him leave it, considering all the stuff he was setting up in that movie and for like possible spin-offs and stuff.
And with, surprisingly, of all the people, Dave Bautista being the most vocal through this whole process of like, I'll fucking cut my contract.
Yeah. Also, I'm not surprised Dave Bautista was the most vocal. Like, look at everyone else in that cast. I'm not saying Dave Bautista's dumb. I would never say that, especially not to his face. But everyone else, you can understand why they would take much more measured approaches. Like, I think in some ways they have more to lose.
Oh yeah, because I mean Batista, and as I've seen through YouTube, is back in wrestling right now while they're on hiatus.
Yeah, apparently.
So yeah, he does have another career he can just go back to.
Also, don't worry, Chris Pratt has like screwed himself over anyway, so it's fine.
What's Pratt done?
What?
Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, I mean, there was the divorce from Anna Faris.
Yeah.
Who's like, seems like the sweetest woman on the planet.
Right.
And from what I've heard is. That he's marrying Katherine Schwarzenegger after like no time at all.
I forgot about that.
Plus, there's the whole issue of his weird semi-modernist church being, like many churches, very problematic with the LGBT community.
What?
And
There's
him
a
like
church that
like
has
you
problems?
didn't see that like Ellen Page called out Chris Pratt's church?
No.
Oh, this is a while ago, but
Okay.
he didn't really have a good rebuttal on the whole thing too. He's doing fine on his own, being problematic. This is why he's the lowest on my Chris's. He's always been the lowest on my Chris's. Though.
Okay.
But no, so like I think this is really good. I think there's also something to be said for. This is where it gets kind of
But what
messy.
about Vin Diesel, Chris?
No, I don't give two
Why
shits.
hasn't he said anything? Why hasn't he said I am Groot?
He's too busy picking out what vest he's gonna wear next.
That's
to
true.
figure this out. Also, just like
Too busy brooding over the fact
hate
that someone
tweeting
else,
Dwayne Johnson.
that someone else got a spin off in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, but look, the situation is still very problematic. Like the stuff that James Gunn was tweeting back in the day is bad. There is something to be said though for figuring out how to move forward, and I think in terms of problematic celebrities dealing with these situations well, James Gunn is pretty high up there for acknowledging like it was his mistake. He apologized for it. He was sincere. He's made efforts to express how he sees himself as a different person now. So that's, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's, how do I phrase this? I think this is a very good thing for these movies and for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I think in terms of the movement that's happening right now in the industry, I think it's also a good thing. Like,
Well, I think there's definitely good and bad sides of it because it is a form of a witch hunt where like in a sense
slightly poor word choice there, Cameron.
Yes, you're right. That was a bad word choice.
I think it is good that we're finding a way to move forward with people who are on the lighter end of the problematic side.
Yes.
The problem then becomes, does this start to set precedent for the very problematic people to start also get second chances, which I think is the potential slippery slope. Like, I think second chances are deserving of those who deserve it, but we've seen a lot of people get like second, third, or more chances and not deserve it. Mm-hmm. And this might make it easier for those people. Like, look, I don't think we're going to get a return from like Kevin Spacey or Bryan Singer, for example, anytime soon. It's not Harvey Weinstein, but...
Well, I mean, what's his face just got a new movie. Pixar.
Oh, John Lasseter?
Yeah, John Lasseter's in a new movie.
Well, he got a whole new job, a whole new career.
Yeah.
So that's another interesting one too.
And that's already having repercussions.
Yeah, Emma Thompson left the movie that they were working on together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think this is good, but there could be, unrelated to James Gunn or the movies themselves, there could be some negative consequences from this at the same time.
But we're looking at a timeline, just so people can still understand what's going on outside of the drama. He is still working on Suicide Squad 2. That is taking priority for him.
Which everyone is very concerned about.
Yes, rightfully so. So that is still happening first, and then Guardians 3 is going to happen after that's done. So we can, we're not going to get anything for probably 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I would guess 2022 at the earliest now.
They'd probably start production. Maybe they'd probably start production 2021.
Yeah, because I would think that. Do we know when Suicide Squad is?
No.
The Suicide Squad is supposed to come out?
No.
I mean, I think it's supposed to start production this year, so I'm thinking we're going to get it maybe end of 2020, beginning of 2021, at which point they could already be gearing up for production on Guardians.
We'll probably
3.
get a production thing at Comic-Con.
We might. Maybe they might. Well, yeah, but I mean, is Marvel even going to Comic-Con?
This is DC.
Oh, DC, okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Marvel's going to have a whole panel at D23.
That's true. And you're right. For Comic-Con, DC will probably announce the full lineup.
Yeah.
For the
they'll do kind of what Marvel did when they started Phase 2 of here's everything coming out.
Yeah.
And then DC will just cut off half of it.
Yeah. Also, if this deal was already in the works a long time ago, they factored this stuff in. They definitely would have factored in time for James Gunn to go off and do another movie in between. Mm-hmm. So it's already mapped out, whatever it's going to be. I would imagine that his deal on the Suicide Squad was predicated on this sneaky deal for Guardians 3.
Yes.
Yeah, his ability to do that movie factors in with Guardians 3.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it'll probably still be a couple of years before we get it. Which would be a pretty long gap. It'd be, if it's 2022, 5 years after Guardians 2. But I mean, also factoring in Infinity War and Endgame as kind of in between.
Yeah,
stuff too.
and we're at the state where you can have people just pop in and out now. We're ideally, the movie that I want probably in Phase 3 more than anything is a Nova movie.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Nova Corps?
Yeah, which could put I mean, you don't need James. I would want James Gunn, but you could kind of just have Star-Lord in there to kind of be the Iron Man to Spider-Man and Spider-Man Homecoming.
I don't know if they'd even do that. I think if they were doing a Nova movie, they'd have it tangentially related, but they would probably, well, they might include some element of the Guardians.
Well, I mean, also Nova is the balance between the two, so he could just be on Earth the whole time. He could be an act because there is the version where he's a teenager.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I actually don't know much about Nova.
I know just enough to have this conversation.
There we go. Cameron, we barely even know enough to have these conversations.
That's very true. But we are now 36 minutes in.
Yeah.
Let's start the episode.
Let's get to it with the return of Inque.
Because this is a great episode.
This is a really good episode. So
finally.
I mean, it's basically Inque is still doing her sabotaging thing. She's sabotaging some rockets. This situation is part of a broader insurance scheme. But when she's betrayed by... I know, right?
The most evil of all plans. Insurance fraud.
I'm trying to think. Was insurance fraud ever a James Bond villainous plot? Not that I'm aware of. I'll have to look into that. Because it's, the most dastardly of all things.
But true evil.
Yeah.
Evil that happens in our world.
But when she's betrayed by her employer, she's shot with
white CEO.
Yeah, just a generic white dude. CEO. She's shot by a particle destabilizer, as happens in our real world too, in insurance fraud cases. And so she has to go.
It's a big part of the Mueller investigation is our particle destabilizers.
So she's off to go reunite with her daughter to seek out help. Now, I'm assuming you didn't know she had a daughter going into this because you had never seen this before.
I had seen photos from this episode where it's Inque hanging out with another woman. I did not realize it was her daughter.
Okay.
I did not realize. I always assumed Inque was early 20s.
Yeah, I
always saw her as a young villain.
I think she's like, well, yeah, I mean, she would have to be like late 30s.
I would say older because her daughter's independent.
I would
say her daughter's
like 20.
Yeah.
But I think she was pretty young.
I would probably put her at 40.
Well, she said she was even younger than her daughter when she had her. So I'm thinking like 37, 38, maybe somewhere around there. Now, I mean, obviously, I'd seen this before. So
do you think in this day and age, 60 and Pregnant is still on?
In this universe?
Even though it is already off in our universe?
Yes, it absolutely is.
Yes.
But in that version, they're talking about mutations.
Exactly.
Supervillains, 16 and pregnant.
Yes.
So, did you...
MTV really just grasping for straws at this point.
There are no more music videos left.
There are no more. They've already done MTV Cribs Villain Edition.
They've done the hills. They've done the valleys.
Yeah. That's actually how all the other heroes were found out because they tried to do a superhero edition.
Yep.
And then all the villains are just like, oh, now we know where all the heroes live. And just took everyone out.
They killed them all.
MTV is responsible for the villain apocalypse.
Could you imagine an episode where Darkseid does like an MTV Cribs?
Yo, what's up? This is Apocalypse.
Welcome to my homeworld.
Yeah.
This is my jacuzzi. It's heated by the famous fire pits of Apocalypse.
Yes.
And Calabac is always trying to get on camera.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Calabac is the Mike Wazowski of that universe.
Every time he like tries to enter the frame, Darkseid just glares at him and like the Omega beams just flare enough for Calabac just scurry off.
Yeah.
And Desaad's like, yes, come into my parlor. Why do I ever bother talking about Batman at this point?
It's such a struggle at this point, isn't it?
And this is even a good episode too.
It's a great episode.
Okay, so my big question for you in regards to this episode is this finally gives us some backstory on Inque. Like this is her at her most sympathetic. Because we learn that she, part of the reason she was committing all these crimes was to support her daughter all the way along, and for her daughter only to turn out to be a total shit.
I don't believe that, because what we see in the end of the episode is she's kind of paying the smallest amount to keep her daughter alive, from what I can tell.
Oh, considering how much money she has.
She's giving her an okay apartment.
An okay apartment? Like,
it was a one bedroom.
But it was like palatial. It's got like massive vaulted ceilings and this like huge glass window and balcony. Like that apartment is nicer than pretty much every other apartment we've seen any character live in this show. Like including oh no, there's that teacher.
There's the teacher
from
and
Zeta,
also
from Zeta.
What's her face? Commissioner Gordon's apartment.
Oh, she lives in a house with her husband, who's also the DA.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
oh yeah, I forgot it's a house. Okay.
Yeah, they're like we've seen houses. Like Chelsea lives in I guess that's more like a condo sort of thing, like a small neighborhood. But like most people live in apartments, and they're all tiny little apartments. You like look at like Mary McGinnis's apartment. It's not particularly big. It's fine.
I mean, it's a nice. I still say it's a pretty nice apartment.
But it doesn't have like.
It's a 3-bedroom.
It's a 3-bedroom, but it doesn't have like
in the heart of Gotham. Do you even know the rent prices in the heart of Gotham?
No, actually they're super low because no one wants to live in Gotham.
That's how she can afford this nice place. Just count it yourself, Chris. She's paying enough. Where yeah, clearly the daughter has major spending problems.
Yeah, like the daughter just has no sense of financial responsibility. Like she used like 5 different credit cards to try and pay off the tow truck driver who has a Hitler stash.
I do like the way tow trucks work in the future though, where they able to just drop down and grab cars.
Cameron, why are you focusing on that and on the fact that the tow truck driver has a Hitler stash?
Because I didn't pay attention to that part, Chris.
How did you miss it? It's sitting there on his face like a fucking Hitler stash.
Hey, I mean, Michael Jordan had one.
And even he couldn't bring it back.
It's true.
Even Michael Jordan, who is arguably like the most beloved man of that time.
Yes, who was probably the most famous person of that time.
Yeah, he was in goddamn Space Jam.
Hell yeah, he was. The most popular movie ever to be made.
Like, he was able to bridge the gap between, like, sports fans and cartoon nerds. Like, everyone loved Michael Jordan.
And people that just really like milk.
Just...
The 3 biggest demographics we have.
Never neglect the milk demographic.
Yeah.
It's like got milk power. But yeah, like, everyone loves Michael Jordan. Even he couldn't bring back that mustache. Why did the animators of Batman Beyond think they could do it?
Because Bruce Timm was a visionary. He's like, I believe I can do this.
Like, even...
Give me that pencil. Let me draw in a rectangle really quick.
Even Charlie Chaplin barely gets a pass for it.
No, he gets a pass for it because he had it first.
He did, but even then... And
he also made a joke. He made a whole movie about that joke.
He did.
A great movie with one of the best speeches I've ever heard in film.
I know. It's an amazing speech. But even then, sometimes the two get confused. Like the great Archer flashbacks. There's an episode, it's the episode of Archer where he's in Monaco. And everyone's worried that he's going to spend all of, like, he basically has to stash away the bearer bonds that he's possessing at the casino. Everyone's worried that he's going to spend them at the casino, but Mallory's like, look, he never gambles. And it flashbacks to her playing cards with him as a kid, and it was Halloween. He's dressed as Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, okay.
And he comes out of the flashback. He's like, why was I dressed like Hitler? And they do a revisit to the joke. Okay. It's fantastic.
I mean, that's a long-running joke, though, because The Office did that joke.
Yeah. But you know what? I feel like this isn't the only character in this universe we see with a Hitler stash. I feel like, isn't there one of the generals in either Superman or Justice League that also has the Hitler stash?
I think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it was a very, very weird choice on their part.
Bruce Timm, he's trying to change the game.
Bold move on the part of the animators. Bold move on the part of the man in that canon deciding he's going to go for it. I mean, at that point, it's been
100 years.
Actually, yeah, isn't this set in
39 or 49?
2039, right?
Yeah.
So it actually would have been
100 years.
I think people still remember that, though. I think so.
Is there any other... Well, so we have, like, the Fu Manchu is the 2, right?
Yeah, the Fu Manchu is when it's like the upper half of a like goatee sort of thing with the lower part.
Is there like a Genghis Khan facial style?
I mean, that's kind of the Fu Manchu.
Okay. Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, that's frowned upon now for other reasons.
Yeah. It's not.
So is 600 years the The time when facial hair gets its power back.
Come back around.
Yeah.
That's true. It's in the Legion of Superheroes time. It's totally acceptable.
Okay.
It's that far into the future.
Gotcha.
But Batman Beyond time, not quite there. Neo Gotham, not ready for Hitler's stash yet.
Okay. But Fu Manchu, totally okay.
We're totally cool with it.
Yeah. It's had its time. It's had its punishment.
But like even in that scene when you're right, the really bizarre means of tow trucking is happening. Like Deanna, Ink's daughter, she's just an
She's a
asshole.
brat. Yeah.
She's an asshole. Like I guess it's an intentional moment to set up the fact that she's kind of mean. But even at the end when she finally on her like 6th credit card has enough credits to pay off the tow truck, she just like makes fun of the tow truck driver guy. And you're like, why?
Yeah.
He's just doing his job. And like even then, he was super nice to you, all things considered.
Yeah, he also gave her a card to get her credit sorted out.
He was like,
I don't need credit help.
He was being super nice to her, and she's just like such an a-hole all the way through. Mm-hmm. But I guess they have to do that to set up the fact that she's a total dick and betrays her mother. Like, do you feel bad for Ink in this episode?
Yeah, because her daughter's a piece of shit.
Yeah, there's that.
I mean, yes, it's a lot her fault.
Deanna even has that line. Like, it's because at the end, Deanna betrays Ink and gives her the wrong mutagen. So rather than re-solidifying her, it re-solidifies her for a time, but then causes her to dissolve. And the reason she did that is because Deanna now had access to all of Ink's accounts and just stole her money, which, like, why would you trust her with that? Like, it's established he's terrible with money. Why would you trust her to have access to your accounts?
So that's why I think that Ink wasn't doing it all for her daughter, was because we saw how much money was still left in that account. If she was doing it all for her daughter would have that money.
Like a much nicer life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Because it didn't feel like even a 50-50 split. It felt more like an 80-20.
She was getting like a pittance.
Yeah.
Now, you feel bad for her in this episode because she's like dying and she's betrayed by her daughter. Mm-hmm. Do you feel this works well, now that I think it's our 3rd time with Ink? Do you think it works better kind of at the end? We've gotten to know her well, or do you think this would have been better off right up front to establish her as a more sympathetic character?
No, I loved this being the 3rd episode because there's like 2 or 3 points. In their first fight, they are both talking about how they've both grown.
How they learn from each other. Yeah.
Yeah, because the first 2 times Ink is defeated through ice and water, and so now the 3rd time, that's Terry's first instinct. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna freeze her, but now she knows how to break out of ice.
Yeah.
And like, okay. And so now she goes to attack Terry and does the same move she does in the first episode where she kind of wraps herself around him to suffocate him. Mm-hmm. He's now planned for that and has a button that will electrify the suit so she can't kind of touch him.
Yeah.
And it shows growth that I don't think we ever had in BTOS.
I was just going to say, we never see Bruce adapt in that same way to his villains.
Well, not in the same way the villains never adapt to him.
Yeah. Which it's kind of surprising when you think about that we're only seeing that now, because that is such a Batman thing.
Yeah. It shows that it's just a game of chess.
Yeah.
And they're always planning ahead. And
actually, you raise a good point too, because we do.
I do, don't I?
You occasionally raise a good point.
Thank you.
We do see him within single episodes of like BTOS, New Batman Adventures, Batman Beyond, learn something and then plan accordingly, right? It's like he'll be going up against Firefly, and so he shows up in like the fire suit, for example, or
limited edition.
Yeah, that's such a badass suit.
Yeah,
I gotta buy that toy. Or we see him, bring the tranquilizer dart when he's going after Man-Bat or something like that. But the difference there is that he always comes prepared in the final battle with some sort of solution, but then that goes wrong and he adapts. Mm-hmm. He like improvises. Which is similar, but you're right, though.
Usually by just blowing up something.
Just by blowing something up. Just by punching someone, blowing something up, using his grapple gun. In this case, you're right, it's interesting, is that not only does Terry come prepared, but it pays off. Mm-hmm. It actually works. Like, he shows up prepared to deal with her, and the new improvements actually work for him, and it's not just like they're instantly dismissed, which is kind of fun to see, that sort of adaptation happening along the way.
Yes.
Because he is learning. He's learning how to be a better Batman.
Yeah.
He's becoming a better Batman.
And then that kind of plays into the Dana subplot, which I felt was very weak.
It was barely even like a B story.
Yeah. And it's a big emotional punch. They wanted it to be a big emotional punch that I felt like needed, like, just cut this little bit out and save it for an episode where you can focus on that more.
Yeah.
Because basically he was, Batman's out of town for this week. For
Bruce
this
is out of
episode.
town.
Yeah, sorry. Bruce is out of town. He's
Bruce,
in
who
Tibet.
calls himself Batman, is out of town.
Yes, he's in Tibet. And so Max wants Terry and Dana to go on like a really nice date now that he has time. But Terry has a lot, which is good. Has a lot of pent up aggression towards Inque because it was the first villain he couldn't beat kind of on his own.
He's never able to beat her on his own.
What happened in the second one?
So in the first one, it's Bruce has to.
Yeah, Bruce freezes her.
And in the second one, Terry gets kidnapped, and Bruce has to come and rescue him and use the exosuit that nearly kills him.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
so he's never beaten Inque.
He's never beaten Inque, and every time it's Bruce had to save him, kind of at his own expense, at his own personal cost.
Yes. So he has a lot of aggression built up towards her. So he ditches Dana again for this to hunt her down, and Dana kind of has the response of, "Oh no, I get what's going on." He's using Bruce as a father figure.
Yeah,
and Terry kind of agrees with that.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
It is big because they initially set it up.
It's wrapped up in less than 2 minutes.
It barely even registers in the episode. Yeah, because initially it's set up to suggest that maybe Dana knows that he's Batman, and then the actual reveal is, of course, that she just.
They also have that happen in the first 10 minutes of the episode. Like, save that bit for the end.
Yeah, somewhere else, because it is brushed over pretty quickly, and she realizes like, oh, Terry's drawn to Bruce because he sees him as a father figure after his own dad died. And it is a nice moment on Dana's part because we've talked a lot about how she really just gets the short end of everything. Like, she's just kind of underrepresented in the show. Terry doesn't treat her very well. She doesn't often get a lot to do. She's just kind of like the long-suffering, most of the time girlfriend.
Yeah.
So for her to have a moment where she has more kind of self-awareness and awareness in general and empathy is really nice. It's a strong moment from her. Just like her strength of character. But you're also right. It's just brushed over so quickly.
I think if they would have just given it one more scene, so the moment where Dana figures it out, have her be angry in that moment, and then give us another minute scene where it's Dana and Max talking.
I think that conversation should have happened between Dana and Terry. I think that minimizes something there. Having it kind of go through Max as a filter versus her.
Well, so here's my idea. So not having it be the filter, see how excited Terry is when he finally figures out where Inque is.
Yeah.
And she sees that excitement on him, where that's the trigger of like, oh, now she gets it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then we don't get that punch where Max tells Terry that until after the Inque daughter stuff happens. So then that wraps up the whole kind of parallel parent stories, where you have the daughter that has a mother that she doesn't want, versus the son who doesn't have a father that he does want.
Yeah.
And so then it's like, oh, she sees you treating him like a father. And he's like, oh yeah, I am. And then that wraps it up so much better.
That does, yeah. Yeah, that would have been a better way to handle it. And there's definitely room in this episode for them to give that a little bit
Although
more
I did
time.
like how this one ended, giving the daughter all the paranoia.
Well, I mean, it's very reminiscent of the end of If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich?
Yeah.
It's the same thing where like the secondary villain gets away with it, but at what cost? So now she's afraid of every shadow around her that it might be Inque. And certainly the final shot there is the implication that it's Inque is hiding in the shadows. Oh, I kind of wish they hadn't done that.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the great things about the end of the Riddler episode is that the Riddler's not there. Like, it's establishing the idea that the Riddler doesn't have to do anything. Mockridge will always live in fear.
Yeah.
And I like that idea. And I think it would have worked better there if it's just her like looking around and realizing that there are shadows everywhere, not just focusing on one that Inque is actually hiding in, but every single shadow could be Inque.
Yeah.
But it is a great ending. I do love when a character gets their comeuppance.
Yeah. But like,
sorts.
I was not ready for that twist with the daughter.
Yeah. Well, so there's the Batman Beyond comic series that started in like I want to say 2010 or something like that. That started with Hush Beyond. I think it's Dan Jurgens, I want to say. There's a couple like one-off issues collected in that, and one of them further fleshes out Inque's backstory about how she was a refugee who like had to flee her country, and she was pregnant. And kind of the only way for her to get into the country was to agree to be a part of this experiment.
Okay.
And that's what resulted in her becoming Inque. And I think it ends the comic, like the narrative superstructure of the whole thing takes place after this episode. So even though Deanna betrays Inque, she is still looking out for her. Like Inque is still looking out for her even after the fact.
Okay.
So it's even more heartbreaking when you get into the comic. It's really good.
Cool.
Yeah. Worth checking out at some point.
All right.
All right. Now we talk about the lesser episode of this week with
I think if they would have
Big Time.
If they would have included one scene at the opening of this episode, I think this could have been great.
What do you think? Oh, so real quickly, the plot here is that a former friend of Terry's just gets out of jail.
Charlie Big Time.
Good old Charlie Big Time.
Charlie Big Dick Charlie.
That's his nickname, is Charlie Big Dick Charlie.
Yeah. Self-appointed. Surprise, surprise.
Exactly. No one's actually seen said Big Dick to corroborate it.
Yeah.
Self-appointed nickname. He gets out of
Like,
jail.
Is it also named? Did you also name your dick Charlie? Is that the? It's like, no, I'm Charlie Big Dick Charlie. What's going on?
Yeah, but his dick is named Big Dick Charlie.
Yeah.
His nickname is Charlie Big Dick Charlie.
Yeah. No, his name is just Charlie. He's talking about both parts of him. I'm here, me Charlie, and also Big Dick Charlie. We're both here, ready to do some crime. Charlie Big Time Charlie.
There's a joke in there about Charlie's Angels. I'm not even sure what to make out of it. But he gets out of jail and initially wants Terry to join him on a job. But we come to realize that's actually just a ploy to garner Terry's sympathy and help get Big Dick Charlie a job.
Hey, Charlie Big Dick Charlie.
Charlie Big
Come
Dick
on.
Charlie a job at Wayne
He didn't
Tech.
go through all his shit for you to shorten his name.
He didn't go through 3 years in prison to not be called Charlie Big Dick Charlie.
Yeah.
He, it's all ploy to get access to Wayne Tech so we can try and steal this chemical compound for a competitor.
Which definitely has not been around since 1992 when Poison Ivy first made it. Let that be clear. This is a Wayne Powers invention, experimental thing, which was definitely not perfected 30 years ago by someone else.
And stolen by Bruce Wayne
Yes.
and hidden in a lab. Because it's a plant growth chemical.
Yeah, a plant growth hormone. To expedite the growing process.
Yeah, which is like, she could just do that on her own, basically, with like a teardrop.
Yeah. She's been doing this for decades.
I know.
I was honestly expecting Poison Ivy to be like a villain in this episode.
Do you think
Bruce
Wayne
killed her? Yes.
Yes,
I do.
Absolutely. And then after he killed her, that he built Wayne Powers
As a cover.
off of the technological achievements of his villains.
Yes, 100%. I'm sure there's some like fear removal thing for like athletes, for professional athletes and people that just probably people who want to go on roller coasters but can't. It's the same thing as like the seasick patch that you put behind your ear.
Yeah.
There's just the no fear patch.
The no fear patch.
Yeah.
The fear equivalent of Dramamine.
Yeah.
Bruce has a fantastic playing card company.
Yeah. And an amazing line of umbrellas.
Yes. So many great umbrellas. He's got so many puzzles. He has a fantastic clay health spa.
Yeah,
too. It just takes
unbelievable.
takes years off.
You really come out a new person.
Yeah. An army of replicants. Most of the employees of Wayne Tech are in fact robots.
Yeah. He's got a whole just museum of bats. No, a zoo, a whole bat zoo.
He also has a bunch of children working in his sewers.
Yep. Yeah, so on the surface, they're all replicants. It's all robots.
Yeah, but down
but
below,
behind
you
scenes,
have children below the surface building robots to work above the surface.
yes.
Bruce, you monster. But yeah, so there's this chemical, and there's some competitors that essentially want to steal it. And we do finally, though, get the story behind why Terry was in juvie, which is what the story is basically that his parents had just gotten divorced. He was like lost and angry and frustrated. Charlie, Big Dick Charlie, was like, "Hey, we're gonna try and steal this stuff. Come and help." And
No, he doesn't. He never tells them. He never tells them what they're doing.
Oh, he doesn't.
They're just miscreants on their own.
Yeah.
And Charlie, Big Dick Charlie, is he just starts hanging out with the wrong group.
Yeah.
And Terry, just being the young impressionable child that he is, tags along.
Goes along with it.
Not knowing that they're gonna pull off a heist.
And so they get caught, and because Terry was underage, he only gets 3 months in juvie, whereas Charlie, Big Dick Charlie, gets 3 years in prison. Where he just became even more of an asshole.
Yeah. So this is and so then Terry pulls some strings with Bruce to get Charlie, Big Dick Charlie a job at Wayne Tech.
Which I think is interesting that Bruce is hesitant to do that, considering it's well established he always hires ex-cons. Like, he goes out of his way to help people.
But only people that want to, that want the help.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. Good old Arnold Weskler, who I think still canonically is the only villain with a happy ending, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure on that. I mean, I think Selena kind of gets a happy ending. She gets away.
Yeah.
All the rest of them, terrible lives. Most of them are dead.
Most of them are being
Bruce has stolen their Bruce has stolen their stuff. That, I guess, is a good point. Yeah, it's like Arnold Weskler or the henchman from Old Wounds, the one that gets intimidated in front of his kid, and then Bruce hires him.
Yeah.
I remember that scene. Like, almost makes me cry every time I watch it. It's so fucking sweet. But anywho, yeah, Bruce doesn't want to hire him, but he begrudgingly does.
So then we learn that was part of the plan. Charlie, Big Dick Charlie was cellmates with the competitor. The
competitor, the AgriCorp or whatever. I don't remember the guy's name, but I saw that he was voiced by Robert. I was gonna say Robert Pattinson, which is absolutely not true. Robert Patrick. My God.
Okay, I get the mistake.
Yeah. Very, very interchangeable actors, Robert Pattinson and Robert Patrick. Also, Cameron, do you know who Robert Patrick is?
Nope. I assume Robert Pattinson's father.
No.
Robert Senior.
That would be Bob Pattinson.
Oh.
No, Robert Patrick was the T-1000.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. And like many other things. Like, that's what he's most known for.
Yeah.
For
his very robotic running.
Yeah, I once rode in an elevator with him in Hawaii.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't really exchange anything. I think
Hawaiian elevators. A lot of shit happens in there.
Well, it's the only place you get like cornered, trapped with people.
Yeah. Well, my mom met Steven Tyler in a Hawaiian elevator.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was there love in an elevator?
Not that she told me.
By the way, Cameron, you probably don't get that joke. That's an Aerosmith song.
I did not get that joke. No, but she said he was the skinniest person she has ever met.
I bet.
That when she saw him, she was scared for his health. He was that skinny.
When was this?
Oh, like 80s, early 90s.
Okay. So probably like peak drug use for him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He now lives out in Maui, actually.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It all ties back to Maui.
Yeah. That's Hawaiian elevators.
Loving an elevator.
No.
Nope.
No.
No.
I know Hawaiian roller coaster ride.
Hey, there we go. But can you sing the Hawaiian part of it?
I can, but I will not.
Let's not do
on
that.
the-
Best not. Okay, what's happening with Charlie, Big Dick Charlie here?
They fail the first heist. Charlie Big Dick Charlie is being held captive by, not held captive, but kind of held his life on the line by, I'm just going to call him Vega because he's definitely just Vega from Street Fighter.
Oh, the claws?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are cool though.
They are pretty cool. Yeah, like he has this kind of like metal corset that he just, I guess what, like magnetically draws the blades out of. So they don't deploy, like it's kind of like unsheathing a knife, but it's attached to your hand.
Yeah, but they're also not on the outside, like Wolverine claws.
They're on the inside, yeah.
They're in between his fingers on the inside. And I thought that was really cool. I kind of paused it and kind of thought about the mechanic of that, and it was cool. It was cool.
I mean, was he wearing gloves too?
No.
I mean, because I feel like if you were to close your fist, you would like squeeze those knives, which might be kind of sharp.
It's future tech.
They are only pointy up front.
Exactly. But they are effective. Like they rip the batsuit up.
Yeah.
Every time.
Batsuit takes a lot of damage in these 2 episodes.
Yeah.
A lot of exposed circuitry on there. What if that's a note they got that's like, hey, people love it when we see like the Batsuit circuitry, because we do.
We do, yeah.
I love it when I see the
Well, I mean,
circuitry.
it's kind of the only time we feel stakes.
Yeah, that's true.
Since we can't see, I mean, there is a face, but we can't see Terry's face.
Yeah.
I think it gives a lot more anguish to it.
Raises those stakes.
Karos is his name, but we're just gonna call him
Karos,
Vega.
yes. What happens?
Who
there?
I had these notes of, oh, I really like Kiros's claws. Oh, and he killed himself.
Oh,
on my back-to-back notes. Technically, he didn't because
No, he
they
did-
like,
yeah.
he was just sent to. But he's definitely dead.
Yeah,
Like, he's
so-
100% dead.
yeah, because he like,
He fell off
He-
what's at least a 30-story building.
yeah, he like slashes the ground of this balcony, and then the balcony like collapses underneath him, and Batman just stands there and just looks at him as he falls.
Yeah.
Terry continuing to kill his villains
Yeah.
left and right. But we're also ignoring the huge moment in this episode where Charlie, Big Dick Charlie, gets exposed to
Gets
said,
his big dick.
Yeah, probably does actually. He gets exposed to this chemical and grows into this grotesque monster.
He reminds me of the Venom monster from Young Justice.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is this is the first draft of that guy.
Yeah, he's ugly. Super ugly. Also, I was reading the trivia, something I did not think about during the episode, but he's asymmetrical. Like he has this growth, but his right arm is still normal sized.
Yeah, because he only got hit on the left side.
Yeah, he was wearing a glove. I didn't really think about that.
Oh, I didn't think about the glove. I just saw the chemical only hit him on one side.
Yeah, but he had the glove on. That's why that arm was less affected.
Oh.
So it's also, I don't understand exactly how that chemical is supposed to cause that reaction of turning him into this weird, like, gross rock monster. Like, it's a plant growth thing. Like, I guess it would.
I mean, maybe it wasn't rock. Maybe it was just muscle.
I mean, it looked kind of rock-esque.
It did, but that might have just been like a coloring thing.
He kind of looks like the Elephant Man afterwards.
Yeah,
So, I don't know. It's just weird.
it is. So, yeah. Oh, and so in the middle of that, he before he turns into a monster, Charlie asks Terry to steal 40,000 credits from Bruce. to help
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
pay off his ransom. But yeah, that's kind of the episode.
It's, I don't think it's particularly great.
Here's what you needed. You needed one scene at the beginning,
Tell me more.
and that's all. Now, I think it would have made this whole episode amazing. Start the episode off with young Charlie.
Oh, flashback?
Yes, small Charlie, small dick Charlie,
And Tiny Terry.
and Tiny Terry.
as he calls him.
Yeah, where you learned that Charlie is the first one to teach Terry how to fight.
Oh, okay.
And he shows him they're kind of roughhousing, and Charlie's like, oh, he does some move where he knocks Terry on his back. He's like, oh, you can't beat me. I'm big time. I'm the big time. I think too big for you, Tiny Terry.
I'm Charlie, Big Dick Charlie.
You call me Charlie, Big Dick Charlie from now on.
says the 13-year-old.
Yeah. some kind of moment where you see the superiority, where you see the idolship between Terry and Charlie Big Dick Charlie.
Yeah.
So then you cut to his reappearance, and then you have that whole conversation of you haven't changed, and that's the crux of the episode, is how much they have changed, how much and how little they have changed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have the moment of like, oh, he put the tracker on it. That's small shit. That means nothing. So then it comes to the final fight scene, because you need something where they both kind of recognize they are each other without saying who they are. And I think you do that by having Charlie Big Dick Charlie's like signature move, where I'm gonna give him like a overhand cross.
Okay,
it's his signature move. And so then in that final scene with his super arm, he does this move, and Terry dodges it and knocks him out from learning how to overcome that one thing.
Yeah.
And then that shows how Charlie has not changed in all this time. He thinks he's gotten better, more devious, but in reality, nothing has changed in those 3 years, where Terry has gotten better, gotten smarter. And I think if you just give it that extra punch of like showing us, don't just, fucking tell us that they've changed, fucking show us how much Terry has changed over these 3 years.
Yeah.
And how little Charlie hasn't.
I like that idea.
Thank you.
It's okay. I think they need to
the goddamn masterpiece.
Like, they definitely need to establish a better connection between the two of them. I think you're right. A flashback would have been nice up front. Yeah, they totally could have had a moment where, like, maybe Charlie even rescues Terry for some bullies. Because, like, oh my God, there's Terry. His parents are getting divorced. Like, that's the totally sort of, like, ridiculous insult a 13-year-old would throw at another 13-year-old.
Oh, yeah.
So something like that could work. And then I don't think
it's Terry, no parents, Terry. It's Terry, broken house, Terry. What are you doing here?
Terry, broken home, Terry. I think.
And then you give us the fucking give us the hint of the Dana moment that when Terry gets out of juvie, either that's when he meets Dana, or Dana's the one, Dana's the first one waiting for. Like, you show in the flashback that Charlie's the only one he had in his life at that point.
Yeah.
And so he depended on him to get him out of this shitty situation at home.
Yeah.
And so then when he gets out, you have some people there for him.
Like a stronger bond.
Yes.
Between the two of them would be helpful.
Because friendship is the ultimate superpower, Chris.
It's how the Super Friends work.
Exactly.
So
you think Aquaman can ride those dolphins without the power of friendship?
No.
Absolutely not.
No, he's friends with those dolphins.
That's why he keeps saying "my man," because he gets stronger with every friend he makes. Bringing it back.
His power doesn't come from the sea. It comes from friendship.
Exactly.
It comes from the heart. It was there all
Earth,
along.
Wind, fire, water, heart.
Why don't you just sit this one out?
Do you really need heart, Captain Planet? Because you got everything else already.
It's kind of heartless.
I don't think heart's going to help you pick up this trash. I don't think heart's going to help you make a tornado. I think you do that just fine without it.
It really is the way.
I get the inclusion aspect, Captain Planet. I really appreciate, this kid whose only friend is a monkey. Yeah, he probably needs some. He probably needs some human friends.
Yeah.
Oh, did you forget he only has a monkey friend? Yeah.
Who's the heart? Yeah. Who's the heart kid?
It's the Indian kid.
Oh yeah. Oh wait, Mati. Is he Indian or is he? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was looking. Oh, okay. It had a different picture when I first looked it up. Also, you love how I'm like looking through my glasses because I can't put them on with my headphones on.
Oh, I didn't realize that part.
Yeah, like they don't.
I mean, just tuck them into the padding, or that works too.
Probably never look more like an old man right now.
Oh, you have not.
Anywho, I don't think he even had to have Charlie mutate in this, to be honest. I think you make this a more grounded story because one of the problems I've been finding with Batman Beyond in general with the villains is either they have a cool look or an interesting backstory, but oftentimes not both.
And this time, neither.
Here, there's kind of like there is an emotional backstory that's not particularly well done. But there's an attempt at it, but like his look is stupid and grotesque and awful. So I think maybe you make this a more grounded story and show that Big Dick Charlie, was always just prone to overreaction and violence, maybe more so than being just purely arrogant. And so when this all maybe it's one of those things too where the crime is initially kind of small. Like Terry basically maybe like turns a blind eye to the small crime. Like he even at one point tries to tell them like you guys can just walk away, right? You have him give a pass to his friend on a small crime. But like that small crime, like something else goes wrong, it escalates, and by the end of the episode, like Charlie is in a situation where he has to like kill one of these other people that turned against him, and that's where Terry has to step in finally, and like he doesn't have to like just fight him because he's like big and strong and ugly and weird, but he has to take them down because he knows that like Charlie can't be redeemed.
Yeah,
and just make it a little more emotionally driven and make Charlie a little more sympathetic and just less of a prick. Although by definition he's not a prick, he's Big Dick Charlie.
Exactly.
So
that's how Terry has to beat him. He has to cut off his dick.
He added that to the bat suit.
Yeah. I am no longer Big Dick Charlie. I am just Charlie.
Charlie the eunuch Charlie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is your last name also Charlie?
No. But my middle name is.
Yeah.
Charlie the Big Dick Charlie.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's kind of a shit episode.
It could have. I mean, it had a lot of potential.
It did, and I think that's kind of what we've been finding a lot with this show is that there's episodes with potential that don't necessarily take advantage. But I mean, that being said, Inqueling's really good.
Yeah, and also it as we talked about before, I think this gave us a draft of some of the best Young Justice episodes.
True.
Where you had the last 4 episodes of season 1 where every character kind of had their either secret story or redemption story. I think this is kind of the layout of like, okay, here are the story beats we have to do. Now, how can we improve on it?
Yeah. Well, because none of this happens in a vacuum. Like, you only get the really good storytelling and writing towards the end of the DCAU because you had just like mediocre storytelling prior to it.
Yeah.
So, shall we move on to some notes from friends here?
Let's do it. What are our friends saying today?
So, one thing, have you been watching Doom Patrol?
I have been watching Doom Patrol.
Oh,
it's pretty fun.
Okay, yeah. So, David Paul Barklow III, awesome name, by
Great
the
name.
way. Yeah, he has messaged us on Facebook basically asking if, after having done Young Justice, if we're going to do Doom Patrol. A few people actually have been asking if we're going to do Doom Patrol. But you have been keeping up with it?
I have been. It's fun. It's a fun
Okay,
one. I love, if anything, the way they cut their trailers is so good.
Like the tease for the next episode? Okay.
Because the voice of the show is all Alan Tudyk. It's all Mr. Nobody.
Oh, that's right. Alan Tudyk's Tudyk.
Yes. Alan Tudyk's. And it's all very kind of cut in this kind of surreal fashion where, I mean, the show is a very surreal show. Like every episode, you're like, how did we get here kind of thing. And so the trailer kind of shows you a second of where they go. And you're like, there's a rapping unicorn in the next. Like it's stuff that you're like, what the fuck am I watching? Is
this show even weirder than Umbrella Academy?
100%.
Because I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Umbrella Academy. But it's pretty weird.
Especially these last 2 episodes. I'll tell you this. They solved a problem by going back in time and creating their own religion.
I got to start watching this.
Yeah.
I got to start. Okay. I will start watching it this week. And then, yeah, we will.
Because there's only 4 episodes out right now.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll start catching up on it. And then, yes, I will make this promise now that when the season ends, we will do an episode.
Yeah. I am sad that the character I wanted to like the most, Elastigirl, is the most annoying character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, that's too bad.
Yeah.
How's Matt Bomer?
Good, but also kind of annoying because he doesn't. Because they're problem with the two of them is they don't know their powers yet.
Oh, okay.
So Matt Bomer's storyline right now is him just dealing with his inner demon
Oh, okay.
that has its own personality.
Oh, interesting.
And then Greta, Elastigirl.
Yeah.
She's not elastic yet.
Oh, okay.
So her thing is if she just loses her composure, she completely loses her structural.
Oh, we saw that in Titans. And she's like,
Yes.
it's like a puddle thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she still doesn't have a lot of control yet. So
Oh, okay.
when she starts to just feel a little stressed, you'll see kind of her face melt.
Droop. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I always...
So there's just not a lot for them to do yet.
Okay.
But Cyborg is great.
Cyborg's great? Mm-hmm. How's good old Timmy Dalton?
Not in it very much.
No.
But when he is in it, he's great.
Fantastic. I mean, I love Timothy Dalton.
Yeah. But I mean, Brendan Fraser.
Oh,
He's kind of the main character.
Oh my
and
God.
He's amazing. And then fucking Crazy Jane.
Yeah.
Is unbelievable.
I've heard that. I've heard she's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. I will start watching it and we will come to it.
Mm-hmm. Infinitely better than Titans.
Well, that's not hard to do now, is it?
Yes.
Do you remember, this is leading into another question. There was a while back you asked me if I thought at some point studios would start releasing brochures in theaters to like explain the backstory.
I did. I forgot I asked that.
I think was that
question.
Alita? When we were talking about Alita, maybe?
Yeah. For those movies where you spend the first like 3 minutes, the first 3 minutes of the movie is just them explaining the world.
Explaining the world, yeah.
Give me those 3 minutes back, movies.
It's because Ashley Clark wrote it, and she said, I don't know that I'm for the brochure idea. With the increasingly niche streaming services being offered, I'd sooner believe that they will start releasing their movies there if they're concerned about prior knowledge, and I totally agree with her.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Plus, no studio is going to pay to print.
I know.
Brochures to hand out in a theater that are just going to end up on the floor.
Yeah, that's true.
So that ain't going to happen. I agree with you, Ashley, and we both disagree with you, Cameron.
Hey, that's fine. That's why it's my opinion.
So suck it. Also, I'm not going to say flack, but I had a number of people basically message me being like, Captain Marvel's a lot better than you guys said it was. Friend of the show, KT, she wrote me, it's like, I'm 3 minutes in, I disagree with everything you've said. Smiley face. And also same with like Maddie Washburn. He's like, guys, like it's so much better than you were talking about it.
I do want to give it another watch because I have friends that have seen it like 3 or 4 times now and they just love it.
So I had Maddie send us in his thoughts and he wrote this very well-written piece. I haven't seen it a second time yet. Have you?
I've not.
So
I went and watched a much worse movie.
Yes, you did. What was the name of the movie?
No,
Cameron?
it will remain nameless.
I mean, you can try and whisper it to me, but we are sitting about 5 feet apart.
Yes, I also already told you the name of the movie. And you know me, I am not very shameful for what I watch.
No, you're not.
So you know how bad of a film it was.
You are shameless. So what do we do with this? Because I thought about trying to do a revisit on Captain Marvel this episode, but one, we've already run long, and two, none of us have watched it again.
Yeah.
So I think what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna promise that we'll both go see it again, and then after that we'll revisit it and we'll also like gather thoughts from other people. I will say this: like I didn't dislike it. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to.
Yes, I'm in the same boat.
Yes. So I'm. It's one of those movies that I definitely want to go back. I think most Marvel films get better with the second viewing. I wasn't even super keen on Infinity War after the first viewing.
Well, that was a theater experience.
Part of that was the terrible theater experience I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are definitely going to revisit Captain Marvel at some point, not for a whole episode, but for a segment. But we just need to go watch it again a second time and see if our opinions have changed. And when we do that, we will read out Maddie's lovely letter, as well as thoughts from other friends of ours.
Great.
So, that being said, what are you plugging this week, Cameron?
What am I plugging? I haven't watched a lot. As I told you early, I got really bad food poisoning this week, so I was bedridden for a few days. It finally caught up with me after I did the math. After 450 Chipotle trips, I finally got food poisoning.
Now,
the math. That math is pretty.
Also, because you ran through this with me before the show, which was fantastic. Probably one of my favorite conversations I've ever had with you. You also have to clarify that it's not like for those of you who don't know, Cameron loves Chipotle. Like, I think the fact that I now live a block away from a Chipotle must be fantastic for you. Like,
yeah.
It's not, you don't mind coming here now because you know you can go get Chipotle.
Well, so the thing is, in LA, there's more Chipotles than fast food restaurants, and I love that.
Yes, there are a lot of Chipotles. And look,
We live 2.5 miles away from each other.
Yeah.
There are 5 Chipotles between you and me.
Yes.
Like, that's not an exaggeration. There are literally 5 Chipotles that I pass driving 2.5 miles.
Okay, so there's the one on Sunset right by me. Mm-hmm. There's the one at the Grove, the farmer's market. I think there's one on Beverly right by the Beverly Center.
Yep.
Where are the other two?
There's one at Sunset La Brea.
Wait, Sunset La...
No, not Sunset, sorry.
No, Melrose.
Melrose La Brea.
Melrose La Brea.
Yeah, because that's where I used to work.
Yeah, this is the weirdest way for me to count, but yes.
And then my go-to at 3rd and Wilshire.
Ah, right. Okay, yeah, that's further south than I pretty much ever go. You're right. Okay, yeah, so there are like 5 Chipotles in there.
Like, that's not an exaggeration.
Yeah, and I usually eat Chipotle at least once a week because I will walk to it from the office or there's one down the street. And I like Chipotle. It's actually pretty healthy.
Yeah.
You just got to eat yourself a nice burrito bowl, brown rice. I'm not a beans fan, but by all means, get some beans. Good source of protein, good plant-based protein. Get yourself some double meat. Eat half of it and come back to it. That's the trick.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Look at you.
always the trick. Sometimes double chicken, sometimes chicken and steak. It's fantastic.
Oh, so because of my bedriddeness,
right.
I did not get to...
Oh, also, I was gonna say that like 450 trips. That is since what?
Oh, should I read my list off again?
Yes, please do. It was so fascinating.
So being handcuffed to my bathroom for the week. This is what I spent my time doing. I made a list of estimating the number of Chipotle trips I've done since my birth. Because Chipotle and I were both born the same year, 1993. So between 1993 and 2000,
Chipotle was born.
Yes, I was born into my life. So from 93 to 2009, when I didn't go very often, I probably went 10 times in those 16 years. But then I got a car, and in 2010, I probably went 10 times that year. 2011 became more routine for me and my friends. We went probably about 18 times that year, a little more than once a month. 2012 in college, wasn't crazy about it. Probably went once a month then because we had, food a lot closer. 2013, I moved where it was 2 blocks away from me. So 2013 and 2014, my sophomore and junior year of college, probably went about 30 times each those years. 2015 is when I was really unhealthy and ate out for every single meal. It's probably went about 45 times. So, about a little over 2 times a month. 2016 is when I started working in LA, and they're fucking everywhere, as I just mentioned.
Mm-hmm. As we just broke down.
So I probably went about 80 times in 2016, starting my multiple times a week problem, only getting worse. 2017, probably about 90 times. 2018, last year, I probably went to Chipotle about 100 times. So almost twice a week, every week. And then 2019, starting off this year on a very bad craze, been about 25 times until today. So that averages approximately 450 trips to Chipotle.
Well, that is an average 450
Sorry,
trips.
that approximates 450 trips.
Which, considering that's like over the course of your life,
is not bad.
It's not bad, like when you factor in how often you go to Chipotle. Like
Yes.
It is just a joke at this point.
It is.
How much you go to Chipotle.
So 1 in 450, I'll take those odds.
So now, apropos of where you started with this, of those 450 approximate trips to Chipotle, how many times have you had food poisoning?
Just one.
Just one.
Just one.
That's a pretty good odds.
Those are pretty good odds, right?
It's better than going to El Compadre.
Yeah.
They've got food poisoning like twice, and I've been maybe a dozen times.
Yeah.
Their margaritas are so good, though.
They're very good.
They're really good.
When they put the little fire in the line.
I know, food's kind of mediocre, but I think what we're going to do from now on is go to El Compadre for margaritas, and then go to like Toy across the street for some
There
Thai
you
food,
go.
or go to the Electric Owl for dinner, because the
Yeah,
Electric Owl is
it's so good.
so good. Walking distance, motherfucker.
For you.
Yeah.
So my bat plug is the new Netflix anthology, Death, Love, and Robots.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I saw the trailer for it. It
fascinating.
looked insane.
I'm only about 4 shorts in. So every episode is, a different writer. It's all done by the same Studio Blur, that just does unbelievable work. All these shorts look so good. Mm-hmm. And they're all just it's definitely Black Mirror-esque, but much shorter. So each short is kind of 10 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
And they're crazy. So episode 2 is hilarious right now. It's probably my I don't know, episode 1 is all 3 are so good I can't pick a favorite yet.
Excuse me.
But I'll talk about the second one for a quick second because it's the post-apocalyptic future where 3 robots are now kind of touring or are acting as tourists in dystopian society where humanity has now all but died off.
Okay.
And it's because they're so far in the future that they don't understand human culture anymore. And so they're seeing it as like tourist objects. So they're walking through like a gym and they see a basketball and like, what did they do with this? And it's like, well, my record said they would bounce it. And so like one of the robots just picks it up and drops it. He goes, that was unbelievable. And it's very good. It's very funny. Episode 1 and 3 are just they're so gorgeous to watch.
Yeah.
So I can't talk a lot about it because there's I think like 18 shorts they published or put out, but I'm very excited to finish them.
Okay. I will check that out.
Yeah.
Because I've heard good things. I've been trying to figure out what my next Netflix, that's difficult to say, show is going to be. Because I can download on my iPad and take it to the gym.
Yeah.
So.
I also forgot that I watched this on yesterday morning. Not a great plug, but for me, it was something I had to cross off my list at some point. I finally watched the live action Kim Possible movie.
Oh my God. I'm surprised we haven't covered that yet. I actually didn't realize it was out already. I kind of expected us to do a whole episode on it.
It had been out for a month. It has been out for a month.
And?
It's not bad.
Okay,
for me.
Okay, I'll say, is it not bad by your standards?
Yes.
Okay, so
standards.
it's atrocious.
You would hate it.
It's atrocious.
You would walk out immediately.
I saw one clip and it looked horrible.
Yes.
It's like the clip of her like chasing after the bus and there's like a runaway baby stroller.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
she, like,
it's bad.
Grapples and just like,
It what kind of upsets me is Christy Carlson Romano has a cameo, but Will Friedle doesn't.
oh, Will Friedle.
Yeah. It kind of makes me sad.
Much beloved Will Friedle.
I know.
From everything. He's the best.
Yeah, from Batman, from our show.
From Batman, from Kim Possible, from Boy Meets World.
Yes.
From everyone's fucking childhood.
In one way or another,
Yes.
he's been a part of it.
Also, from everything I can tell, he just seems like super nice and friendly and charming.
Yeah.
And I adore him.
But yeah, it's bad. I'll just straight up say it's bad. But I had to cross it off.
You did have to. I honestly am surprised it took you a month. Like I didn't realize it was already out.
I was so hesitant. Of
Yeah.
I mean, my friends that saw it, I had friends that got to go to the premiere of it.
Oh my God, how exciting!
I was very jealous. Yeah, well, because everyone was there.
Okay.
Like Chrissy Carlson was there, Will was there, Taj Mowry was there because he was the original voice of Wade. Raven Simone was there because she was the original voice of Monique.
Oh, that's right.
Like the before kind of the new age, not new age anymore, but the kind of the Miley Cyrus age of Disney. Before that, it was kind of the all-stars of Disney were all in that show.
Yeah, because it's an amazing show.
It's so good.
We should just do a podcast on that.
We should. And what I appreciated about it is like they knew hardcore fans were gonna watch it, and so they gave us just enough little treats of like, hey, you remember this? Because there's one where they have a new friend, they give her a makeover, and so they go to this hair salon, which is a whole episode in Kim Possible, where Ron gets a haircut and they first meet Senior, and Senior, Junior.
Oh,
I love those guys so much.
Real quick, who are all the villains that show up
In this one,
in the live action?
just two,
Just Draken and
3
Shigo?
if we include Shigo. No, because I forgot the voice actor gets to play the real actor, and it's one of our favorites. Patton Oswalt is not Dr. Dementor, Professor Dementor.
Oh my God, yeah.
So he's the start villain.
That's fantastic.
So we meet Professor Dementor, and then Draken and Shigo are the only 3. But by name we hear Senior, Junior, and we hear Duff Killigan.
Oh, Duff. Oh, good old Duff. I forgot about Duff Killigan.
Yes.
I need to go rewatch that show.
Yeah,
Is
not
it out
the
there somewhere? Is it available?
It should. I think it's all in the Disney app,
Okay.
but it's just not organized.
Those motherfuckers.
Right?
I have to watch things in chronological order.
Yeah.
Always. It's compulsive.
I know. It's compulsive.
Yes. Yes,
I did it. I did it.
It's compulsive.
I did it.
And they're making it
No, don't take it further than it needs to go.
impossible for me to do it.
I hate you. No, damn it. What are you watching, you piece of shit?
I've got 2 plugs this week. 3 actually. 3 plugs technically. One is this amazing documentary I went and saw called Apollo 11 on, guess what?
Oh yeah, I meant to go
Apollo
see
11.
that.
I'm not sure. I think it's still playing in some theaters. I think for us at least, it was at the Sunset Theater, and
It was at the Grove for a few days.
Okay, yeah, it might be at the Grove still, but it's out of the Sunset Theater. But I caught it this week, and it's obviously about Apollo 11, which for those of you who do not know, was the 1969 mission that landed us on the moon. So that is the first time we landed on the moon. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins, the whole thing.
If you need to remember, Chrissy Carlson Romano did sing a song called "Went to the Moon" in 1969. Is a real thing
From what?
for Even Stevens.
Oh, okay, you've lost me there. I know what Even Stevens is, but I have no interest in it.
It's fine.
It's got actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf in it. It's ridiculous. But what's cool with the documentary is it's completely built through archival materials. So there are no talking in interviews. There's no voiceover narration. There's like a little bit of graphics, just kind of illustrate the different steps of the mission. But beyond that, it is all pieced together from archival footage of the time and audio. So we're talking official footage from NASA, in camera from the Apollo capsule, from the lunar lander, the LEM, the launch footage, like home movies that people shot when they all went out to go watch the rocket launch back in the day. Audio from the communications with the mission, newscasts, interviews, that sort of thing. It's all pieced back together. And then there's a more contemporary sounding score on it that actually makes it really suspenseful. So did you ever see First Man?
I did not.
So it's pretty good. But, there's a sequence where they're actually landing the lunar lander on the moon. And I always just kind of assume like they just like bloop, plop down and there you go. But no, I mean, of course, they're coming in with speed. And so in the movie, in First Man, they do a really good job making that scene suspenseful. But they do an equally good job in this documentary where it's all done from the camera inside the window of the LEM. And we're watching the altimeter drop at the same rate that we're watching the like fuel seconds they have left.
Oh, shit.
And it's like getting so close. And the music is really suspenseful. And it's like, it's kind of like watching Apollo 13, the narrative film, where you know what happens, but you're still kind of left wondering, wait, what is going to happen? Like, I know how it ends, but it's still very suspenseful. It's really, really good. Actually, really emotionally affecting, too, because they do a really nice job of kind of capturing the sense of awe, inspiration, and pride that the whole world felt at this accomplishment. And even listening to the interviews with the astronauts, or even just their broadcast from the moon, how they were always emphasizing that it wasn't just an American accomplishment, but this was something for the whole world. So it's really beautiful, really inspiring. I highly recommend it. I mean, especially if you're into that stuff at all, which I grew up loving that stuff.
Did you see They Shall Never Grow Old yet?
I still haven't seen it.
Okay.
I need to. I really want to.
Because I really liked. I mean, I'll watch it and give the comparison.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to watch that at some point because I've heard it's great. Kind of a similar sort of accomplishment.
Yeah.
But no, that's really good. And then I also want to plug a video from our good pals at the Watchtower Database. Did this great video called Black Heroes Matter, Diversity in the DCAU. And so it's a lot of it focusing on particularly the efforts of Dwayne McDuffie, who was a comics writer. He started Milestone Comics and then was brought on board to do Static Shock. But it goes through, it mostly focuses on Static and Jon Stewart, but just how important those characters were in their own shows and inclusion in that universe. And also just like going in a little bit too of how challenging it was in some ways, how much backlash they got for having that inclusion. And I haven't watched Static in years, but they definitely talk about, some really powerful storytelling.
Oh, you will.
We will. And it made me super excited, especially to go back into Static again. Like, they focus on one episode that deals with racism head on with like Richie's dad.
Yeah. Oh, that's like season 1.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, like halfway through season 1, like being racist, and it was it's a really, really
It's a good episode.
great video, and guys, take this as the compliment that's meant to be. Like, it felt like I was watching like a mini documentary piece. It's really well polished and really well told. They did a fantastic job with it. It's just a great piece of documentary journalism about this thing that we love, and its relevance today especially. And I know they got they got some good traction on that too. Like, I know Phil Lamar, who they've interviewed before at, I want to say, Emerald City Comic Con.
He's amazing.
He's great. Yeah, I know. I think he like retweeted or something like that too. Like, it's getting a little bit of traction, which is fantastic.
I met him once.
Oh, nice.
I got to do a video. I got to do a conference call with him, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was good friends with one of my college professors.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, and he just like called in. It was also like days before they announced the Samurai Jack reboot.
Oh,
and so
okay.
that's all people were talking about.
Yeah. From everything I've heard or seen, he seems like a really cool, classy guy. Actually, no, I didn't
you met him as well?
I didn't. Sort of. We interviewed him on a docuseries that I was PAing on.
Okay.
So I didn't really meet him, but I got to listen into his interview. And just, you kind of forget about the really storied career he's had outside of voiceover work, too.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Very
critical role in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
But he's incredible. It's a really great video. So that's down in the show notes, the link to that video from Watchtower Database. So... and then, of course, there's a new episode of Gay It Forward. I also have to mention that as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our friend Jose came on to talk about his experience basically being gay and Latino. And specifically, we go into what like Latinx is. You guys have probably seen that term, but it basically is just like a non-gendered description of Latin culture. And he kind of goes into where he sees queer representation in Latin culture and stuff. It's a really good episode of my own thing.
Nice. No, that's good. No, you can plug your own shit.
I'm going to plug my own stuff. But yeah, so those will all be down in the show notes.
Nice.
Yes. Are we good?
We did it.
We good finally?
Finally. I forgot when we have energy, we just fucking talk a lot.
We do. But we just have lots. Well, I think we, especially like recording Monday evenings is tough, especially with Captain Marvel, and none of us are super excited about it. Yes, we might be. We might be someday. That's the hope. But no, as always, thank you for listening. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate when you write to us, and we can be found at Timm Talk Pod on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Gmail. In particular, a shout for opinions on Captain Marvel.
Yes.
Send us those. We will do a proper revisit and try and get some broader sense of what people thought of that movie. And then I am at Lordifer on Instagram and Twitter. I think by the time this comes out, I had some story stuff up because I went to drag brunch yesterday.
You did.
First time going to drag brunch at Hamburger Mary's. So much fun,
isn't it?
It's really you've done it before, hadn't you?
I went with. I brought my mom.
Oh, that's right.
And we sat on the patio. We kind of watched it from afar.
Yeah, it's definitely something we need to go do again.
Yeah.
It was really, really fun. I guess that's another unofficial plug, guys. If you're in LA, go to drag brunch at Hamburger Mary's.
Yeah,
it's great. But yeah, that's where you can find me. So
you can find you at drag brunch.
You can find me at drag brunch every Sunday.
Yeah,
or Saturday, or in the middle of the week.
Yeah,
why not?
There's no judgment.
Yeah, I mean they're not having a brunch there, but I'm sitting there waiting for one.
Just gotta get good seats. They fill up quick.
Yeah. And if I can't find someone to perform, I'll go out to the street and drag them in.
Yeah. Don't you fucking dare. If you want to find me, you can find my art at Cameron.Dexter. And if you want to see my face and how sick I am, you can find that at CamDexter_adventures. I had a little rant because I posted this on Instagram. And I got a lot of response
you
from
had
it.
a rant about the birds at the top of the
Yes,
Pacific.
it's a big deal. I'm gonna preach about it here for another quick second because we're already way too late into this podcast.
Fuck it.
Yeah. For anyone who's still listening, if you go to a Pacific Theater movie theater, they just
such as the Grove
or the Americana, which are the only two.
Yeah, it seems like it.
They just got a new intro bumper, which is so poorly animated. It looked like it was done in like 2002 with like version 1 of RenderMan. But at the top of the screen, they have birds flying across, and they're rendered out at the wrong frame rate. And it's so frustrating because they're only on screen for 2 seconds at most, but they skip across because they're not in sync with the rest. They were clearly done on a separate plane, so they don't sync up with the rest of the animation, and it's very frustrating to watch. And when you see it, you're never gonna not see it again. So, fucking have at it.
And on that note,
bye.
Cameron's off to go protest outside of the Pacific Grove theaters. You can find him there all week.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.